Everybody. So today we are going to discuss the numericals on the gating and the riser designs that we had earlier studied, and the whole context of the numericals today is going to be basically based on the work that we have done. So right now this is the question. You can take down the question right now and then we can start with the process. So in this numerical, basically what we are supposed to do is we will be working on finding out all the important aspects of the gating system. The major points that will be trying to work with are the dimensions of the gates, the pouring basin, the dimensions of the sprue, and the sprue base well diameter that is required for this type of a casting. So before you start doing anything, basically what you need to do right now is, you first of all need to find out what is the pouring time. So for pouring time, what you need to understand is that the material is steel. So for steel, what happens is the pouring time is given by this formula. T is equal to 2.4335 minus 0.3953 log. This log is actually base 10. So log base 10 W into under root of W. So the thing that you need over here is W, and W is already given to you as 30 kgs. So you have all the relevant data available to you, and basically now what you will be doing is you will be substituting these values into the equation and getting the pouring time as 10.13 seconds. So this is the pouring time that you have obtained. Now once you have obtained the pouring time, the next step is to find out the choke area. The next step is actually to find out the choke area. So we know the formulation for choke area. The choke area formulation is actually given as A is equal to W upon DTC under root 2GH. Now W over here is 30 kgs. D is the mass density, that is given as 2600 kg per mm cube. T is the pouring time that you have already obtained. C is the efficiency coefficient. The efficiency coefficient to you is given as 0.9. The efficiency factor is given over here as 0.9. G is the acceleration due to gravity, so that value will be taken as 9.81. G will be 9.81, and H is actually given as the height from which the material is going to be dropped above the sprue. So that height is actually given to you as 250 mm. So all the relevant data is available with you. So what you will do is you will take all the relevant data like this. Now please remember one thing. D over here is in mm cube and H is in mm. So either you convert everything into meters like I have done over here, you convert everything into meters, or you can keep everything as it is in millimeters and keep working with it. So you have the option. What I have done is I have converted everything into meters, and what happens is once you substitute all these values into this equation, the answer that you will be getting is A is equal to 5.71 into 10 to power minus 4 meter square. So area of the choke is found out, and that area of the choke is equivalent to 5.71 centimeters square. Just for simplicity purpose, I have converted it into centimeters just for simplicity purpose, nothing else. So now what you have found out is the pouring time, and you have also found out what is going to be the area of the choke that is used for this purpose. Now we know that the gating ratio is given as the ratio of sprue, runner and ingates. This is what we know. And in our question, this ratio has been provided as 1:3:2. Now always remember one thing, the sprue that you have, this is the type of sprue that you will be using, a conical sprue, and this is the bottom portion of the sprue, and this is connected to the sprue well, and this is connected to the runner. So this section is actually the choke area. This section and this section is actually the choke area. So whenever you are talking about the area of the choke, you are actually referring over here to the area which is in between the choke and the sprue. Okay? You are always referring to this area. So now that area will be taken up for consideration and will be utilized basically for further calculations. So now what is going to happen is the choke area is equal to area of the sprue. Since it is 1:1 ratio, so area of the choke is equal to the area of the sprue, and that is equal to 5.71 centimeters square. Now, since no specific shape of the sprue is given to you at the end cross section, this cross section, now this can be a circular cross section, or this can also be a rectangular or some other cross section. Since no cross section is provided to you, you please remember and take it only as a cylindrical cross section. So for cylindrical cross section, area of the sprue is equal to pi by 4 d square, and that is equal to 5.71. So d will be equal to under root 5.71 into 4 divided by pi. So this is the value of d, that you will be how d will be found out, and the value of d will come out to be 2.70 centimeters. So this is the diameter of the sprue. Now which part of the sprue? The bottom part of the sprue has been found out. Now similarly, the area of the runner, AR, is equal to 3 times the area of the sprue. That is equal to 3 times the area of the sprue. So 5.71 into 3 will give you 17.13. So similarly, we have not been given any cross section for the runner. So we are assuming a cylindrical cross section. And for cylindrical cross section, this is the formula that is equivalent to this. And again, what we will get is the diameter of the runner. The diameter of the runner comes out to be 4.67 centimeters. Now, once you have found out the sprue, you have found out runner, now you are searching for ingates. So same method, same formula, same principle. We are again going to apply. The area of the ingates is equal to 2 times the area of the sprue, because the ratio is given as 2 over here. So 5.71 into 2 gives us 11.42. And again, similarly, we have not been given any cross section of the sprue, of the ingates. So we are assuming a cylindrical cross section. And for cylindrical cross section, area of the sprue will be equal to pi by 4 d square is equal to 11.42. And that will give us the diameter of the ingate. So this gives us the diameter of the ingate. Now, I don't know how many of you have gone through the earlier slides, because I'm going to discuss actually is contained in the slides of gating system design. So if you had gone through that, you would realize that for a narrow and deep runner, the sprue well diameter is equal to 2.5 times the width of the runner in a 2-diameter system. So if you had remembered that this is the well and this is the runners. So if you have got 2 runners, then this depth, this diameter is equal to 2.5 times the diameter of the width of the runner. That the width of the runner is given as, this is the runner, so this is going to be the width. In our case, since we have assumed a circular cross section of the runner, so the width of the runner is equivalent to the diameter of the runner. So width is equivalent to the diameter. Now, if it is a single runner system, if it would have been a single runner system, then this value of 2.5 would be taken as 2. So 2 times the width of the runner in case of single runner system. only one runner is there. So right now we are working with two runner system. So it is equivalent to 2.5 times the width of the runner. And in our case, since the width is equal to the diameter of the runner, so 2.5 times diameter of the runner is 4.67. So multiplied by 2.5 times, you will get 11.68. That is the sprue well diameter. So one answer you have already obtained over here. So the diameter of the sprue well is 11.68 centimeters. Now let us go further. Now in the numerical, it was given to you that the vertical height of the sprue is 150 centimeters and the taper angle of the sprue is 2.5 degrees on single side. But if you look, there are two sides. This is one side and this is the second side. So this angle that you are seeing over here, that is 2.5 degrees, and this vertical height is given as 150 mm. So this vertical height is given as 150 mm. Now what you already know, some of the components you already know right now, and some of the components you would require. So what we are trying to find out is actually CF. What is CF? This is what we are trying to find out. D is known to us. It will be 2.7 by law of parallel. So it is 2.7. What we don't know is EF and CD. So these two components we don't know, and these are the two components that we will be trying to find out. So how to do that? I believe by simple trigonometry we can do that. So what happens is, in this triangle AEF, this is 2.5. So if I take tan 2.5, it will be equal to EF upon EA. So EF upon EA, but what is EA? EA is 150 mm. So tan 2.5 is equal to EF upon 150. So EF is equal to 150 into tan 2.5, which gives 6.55 mm. And when you convert it into centimeters, it is 0.655 centimeters. Now, similarly, for this triangle BCD, we can also find out CD in a very similar way as 0.655. So we have found both the unknowns. Now the top diameter of the sprue, that is equal to CF, that is the total length, is equal to CD. CD is 6.55 plus 2.7, that is DE, and then it is EF. So the total length of the top diameter of the sprue is equal to 4.01 centimeters. So we have found out the bottom diameter of the sprue, that was 2.7 centimeters. And what is the top diameter of the sprue? The top diameter of the sprue is 4.01 centimeters. Okay, so now we have found out what is going to be the dimensions of the sprue. We have found out the dimensions of the runner. We have found out the dimensions of the choke gate. We have also found out the dimensions of the ingates. And now what we need to find out is the dimensions of this pouring basin. So we already know that the vertical height of the sprue basin, that is, if you remember, this is the figure that we had got, So this is the top diameter of the sprue, and this height is equal to 2.5 times the upper diameter of the sprue. So this is the height that we are trying to now find out. So we have found out the top diameter of the sprue already in the previous section, and now we are searching for what will be the height, the vertical height of the sprue basin. So that can be found out very easily. 2.5 times into 4.01 centimeter, which is the top diameter of the sprue. So the vertical height of the pouring basin is equal to 10.03 centimeters. So this is all about the gating design. So you have to understand one basic principle over here. Not one, but 2 or 3 important points basically you have to remember. The first point that you need to remember is that once you don't have any given individual cross section, don't go for a rectangular or a triangular or any other cross section, go for a circular cross section of the gate. Secondly, if the height basically is not given to you, or the taper angle of the sprue is not given to you, assume any value which is between 1 degree to 3 degrees. That is what you have to first of all remember. Another thing that you need to remember is basically if you need to remember is that whenever you are assuming the area of the sprue is equal to the choke area. The area of the sprue will be always equivalent to the choke area, and choke area formulation is already known to you. So once you get the area of the sprue by correlation of the gating ratios, you can utilize and find out all the individual dimensions. So this is all about the gating design. Basically, this was all about the gating design that you have seen. And now what we are going to do is, now we are going to shift to the riser design. So you please take down this numerical. The numerical is pretty simple in its understanding. What you want is, you want to cast a aluminum cube of 12 centimeter sides. So you want to make a cube of 12 centimeter sides, and the riser that you are trying to use is a cylindrical riser whose height is equal to the diameter. The riser is not insulated. Now this is something which is very important. When I say that the riser is not insulated, it means the heat transfer is taking place, and heat transfer basically means that there is going to be shrinkage. If the riser is insulated, then the shrinkage value will be very less, less than 1% also. But since it is not insulated, so there will be some shrinkage. Now, another data that I have given to you is, if the volume of shrinkage of aluminium during solidification is 6%, it says that the volumetric shrinkage during solidification process is 6% of the total volume of the molten metal that is being poured into the system. So whenever the volume shrinkage is happening, it is happening at a rate of 6% with respect to the molten metal that has been poured into the system. So now what I am asking you to calculate is the shrinkage volume of the cube during the solidification phase. How much shrinkage has actually happened during the solidification process? And secondly, what will be the minimum size of the riser? Now, riser is, as you already know, it is a cylindrical riser that you will be taking. So what will be the minimum size of the riser? So basically what I want you to find out is diameter of the riser and height of the riser, so that it can provide you the shrinkage volume. So this is the basic thing that you need to find out. So let us start with the first part. We are trying to find out the shrinkage volume of cube during the solidification process. So first of all, what I need to find is that the cube has a side of 12 centimeters. So what is the volume of this cube? The volume of this cube is going to be a cube, and it is equal to 12 cube, that is 1728 centimeter cube volume is going to be required. So this is the total volume of the cube that is going to be generated. Then what we are also knowing in this numerical is that the shrinkage of aluminium during solidification is 6% of the total volume. So 6% of total volume is equal to 6 by 100 into 1728. 1728 was the total shrinkage, total volume that was being covered by this cube of 12 mm side. So the shrinkage volume comes out to be 103.68 centimeter cube. So this is the volume that is going to be shrunk. So now the next step, that is the minimum size of the riser which can provide the shrinkage volume. So now you are going to design a riser which can at the minimum provide this amount of volume for the casting. So this is the first part of your numerical. You wanted to find out what will be the shrinkage volume. So shrinkage volume is going to come out at 103.68 centimeter square. Okay. Now this is something which is not provided in every book, but I want you to remember this thing, and you should take it down basically, that whenever we are designing a riser, the basic minimum dimensions that we take according to different conventions are somewhere between 2.5 to 3 times the shrinkage volume. In American Society of Foundry, this value has been taken as the standard value as 3 times the shrinkage volume. What it basically tries to explain is that when the shrinkage is happening in the casting and you have molten metal in the riser also, so riser is also going to solidify. But if you remember the solidification time principle, which I explained during the riser design, the solidification of the molten metal in the riser should be later than the solidification of the molten metal in mold cavity. So if you have equal volume, what will happen is heat transfer will be fast. As a result, the heat balance will be formed very easily, and as a result, both will start to solidify. But if you have more volume in the riser, which means it will have more heat, so the heat balance will not be formed that easily and it will take more time. So while the solidification of the cavity is happening in the mold, molten metal in riser is going to remain at a higher temperature, and so it will be passed on to the mold cavity to compensate for shrinkage volume. So this is the basic idea why the riser volume is taken as 2.5 to 3 times the shrinkage volume. For simplicity's sake, we will always take this value to be 3 times. For simplicity's sake, we will always take this value to be 3 times during the design process. So please remember this point. So what we are going to now decide is the riser volume. So riser volume is approximately 3 times. So we are going to take it exactly 3 times. We are taking it exactly 3 times. So 3 into what was the shrinkage volume? If you remember, it was 103.68. So 3 into 103.68 gives me 311.04. So this is the volume that my riser should hold, so as to compensate for the shrinkage volume. So this is the basic volume of my riser that it should hold to minimize shrinkage volume. Now, if you remember what was the shape of our riser, the shape of our riser was cylindrical. So, assuming a cylindrical riser, so what happens over here is, what is the volume? Volume is pi by 4 d square h, that is equal to 311.04. Now, if you remember in the question, what we have given is the diameter of the riser is equivalent to the height of the riser. So d is equal to h. So this becomes pi by 4 d cube, that is equal to 311.04. And by this formulation, we can find out d to be equal to 7.34 centimeters. So this is basically the dimension of the riser, which will be able to hold basically this volume of material in itself. But please remember once again what I said earlier also, that when you are talking about the solidification process, the solidification time of the riser, the material in the riser, has to be more than the solidification time for the material in the mold cavity. So this is the basic criteria for any sound casting. So this is the basic criteria for any sound casting that you have. So now what we are going to do is we are going to use the Chevroniov formula and the cooling characteristic to determine what will be the ideal diameter which will be able to hold that much volume of material which will compensate for casting shrinkage. So now what happens is, let us look at the cooling characteristic of the riser. Now what is cooling characteristic? The cooling characteristic is given by surface area upon volume. The cooling characteristic is given as surface area by volume. So now what will be the surface area? If you remember, now this is your basically your riser. So this is the shape of the riser that you have got. It is a cylindrical shape. So what is the surface area of cylinder? The top and the bottom area is pi by 4 d square. So this is this part, and the circumference is equal to pi dh. So that is compensated over here, and the volume we all know it is pi by 4 d square h. Now since h is equal to d, that is already given in the question, so all h will be converted as d, and when you solve this equation, what you will find out is this cooling characteristic, that is A by V of riser is equal to 6 by d. This comes out to be 6 by d. Now what happens is we have to find the cooling characteristic of the casting also. So the cooling characteristic of the cast is surface area. Now it is a cube. As you remember, it is basically a cube. So cube has a surface area of 6a square, and the volume is given as a cube. So this cooling characteristic will be actually given as 6 upon a, and a is the side of the cube, where a is the side of the cube, and that side of the cube is already given to us as 12 centimeters. So this 6 by 12 is equal to 0.5. So this cooling characteristic of cube is equal to, or the casting to be very precise, not cube, C is casting over here. So A by V of casting is equal to 0.5. Now the solid, as I explained earlier also, the solidification time for the riser must exceed the solidification time for the main casting. That this is the basic premise on which this whole design is going to work. And why it works? Because heat transfer, if it establishes earlier, the shrinkage cavity will not be compensated. Hence, since we need shrinkage cavity to be compensated, so we require the solidification time of riser to be more. Now, what is solidification time? What is the formula for solidification time? The formula for solidification time is V by A whole square. So this is the formula. Since we are using the same mold, so C is going to be the constant over here. So constant is going to be same. So what is happening is V by A of riser has to be more than V by A square of casting. Now if I take square root of both sides, what happens is I have V by A of riser is greater than V by A of casting, which can be, now if I inverse this process, because I need to find A by V, I have got V by A. So if I inverse this process, what I find is A by V of riser, that is the cooling characteristic of riser, will be less than the cooling characteristic of the casting. What does it mean? It means that the cooling of casting will be faster as compared to the cooling of the riser. And that is always going to be true, because that is why shrinkage is happening over here, not over here. The major amount of shrinkage happens in the casting part. So this is the basic equation now that I'm going to use, where A by V of riser is less than or equal to A by V of casting. So boundary condition यहाँ पर क्या बन जाएगी? Boundary condition will become A by V of riser. I'll write over here. A by V of riser will be equal to A by V of casting. So this will become your boundary condition. So we will find out for boundary conditions only. So let us move forward. So this equation is, I believe, is clear to you. So now what happens is 6 by D, which was the boundary, which was the cooling characteristic of riser, if you remember, will be less than or equal to 0.5, which is the cooling characteristic of the casting. So now simply inverting it, bringing D over here and bringing 0.5 to the denominator part, D is greater than 6 upon 0.5, or D will be greater than or equal to 12 centimeters. Now this is the final condition that you have got, which will give you the actual diameter of the riser, which will be able to help you in order to contain the shrinkage of the mold cavity. So now what happens is, under boundary conditions, the equality will be taken into consideration. So D is equal to 12, and we already know that D is equal to H. From it is given in the question itself. So H is also equal to 12 centimeters. So what will be the riser volume which will be able to contain how much volume will be required to compensate for the shrinkage with energy, with heat balance. So this is the formula. We have D, we have H. So basically what we are going to find out is, so this is the actual volume which will be utilized by the riser. And what is the dimensions of the riser? Dimensions of the riser will be this much. Dimensions of the riser will be this much. Okay. So this is the this is how you will find out. This is how you will find out how the risers are actually going to be worked out. So thank you. And now I am unmuting everybody, so you can please ask your questions. Yes, Supreet.
Sir, it was mentioned in the earlier slide that the shrinkage was 6%. तो सर 6% के हिसाब से हमने जो वॉल्यूम कैलकुलेट करी थी उसको 3 टाइम्स करा था, तो उसके हिसाब से 7 पॉइंट समथिंग आई थी ना डी की वैल्यू.
हाँ, वो जो आई ना, वो बेसिकली वो जो हमने 6% का कैलकुलेशन करके निकाला था, वो वॉल्यूम है जो कि मेरी श्रिंकेज को कंपनसेट कर देगी. ठीक है, पर हमको एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट ये नहीं भूलना है कि जो राइजर में मोल्टन मेटल है वो भी तो सॉलिडिफाई करेगा ना.
यस सर.
तो अगर हीट बैलेंस बहुत जल्दी स्टैब्लिश हो गया, अगर राइजर का बेस जो होता है और कास्टिंग का टॉप पार्ट होता है वो आपस में कांटेक्ट में होता है, यू माइट बी रिमेंबरिंग दिस पॉइंट.
राइट सर.
तो अगर वहां हीट बैलेंस आसानी से स्टैब्लिश हो गया तो प्रॉब्लम क्या जनरेट होगी कि राइजर यहां कास्टिंग मोल्ड कैविटी में जो कास्टिंग है वो सॉलिडिफाई होगी और श्रिंक करेगी, पर राइजर के अंदर भी चूंकि सॉलिडिफिकेशन शुरू हो गया है तो वो मटेरियल ट्रांसफर ही नहीं कर पाएगा. तो बेसिकली हमको वो वॉल्यूम चाहिए जो हीट बैलेंस भी स्टैब्लिश ना होने दे आसानी से.
ओके सर.
तो हीट बैलेंस का जब हमने सॉलिडिफिकेशन टाइम वाला कॉन्सेप्ट पढ़ा था पिछली क्लास में, तो हमने क्या बोला था कि सॉलिडिफिकेशन टाइम ऑफ द राइजर हैज टू बी मोर देन द सॉलिडिफिकेशन टाइम ऑफ द कास्टिंग, तभी राइजर से मोल्टन मेटल जो है कास्टिंग में ट्रांसफर हो पाएगा.
राइट.
तो अब पहली कंडीशन में तुमने 7 mm वाला जो डायमीटर निकाला वो क्या था? वो डायमीटर था जो श्रिंकेज को कंपनसेट तो कर देगा, पर हीट बैलेंस का ध्यान नहीं रखा था तुमने केवल मैकेनिकल श्रिंकेज का ध्यान रखा था वहां पे.
So sir, the criteria that decides the dimension of the riser, that is the heat transfer criteria, A by V volume.
Both of them are required, because in some cases what will happen is, like here you were using aluminium, but if you start to use steel or something else, then the whole scenario changes in a very different way. Practically the whole scenario will change in a different way. But over here, since you are using aluminium, so aluminium has a different characteristic as compared to other metals. So aluminium, what happens is, as soon as you pour the metal and the heat transfer take place, it starts to solidify. So shrinkage is always going to be more. When you go and consider steel, the shrinkage will be hardly 2 or 3%. Hardly 2 or 3%. So in that case, since the molten metal is at a higher temperature, the heat balance will be established automatically later on. But in aluminium, since the melting point is lesser, the heat balance will be established very rapidly. So here you have to take into consideration both the aspects for aluminium, the heat balance equation as well as the shrinkage equation.
So sir, this was the
two diameters. Just let me finish 1 second. We found two different diameters. One diameter was found on the basis of simply fulfilling the mechanical shrinkage. Okay. The second diameter was found out on the basis of heat balance equation.
Right.
So whichever is bigger will be taken into consideration.
So sir, this was the reason 7 centimeter was neglected, and the minimum value that has to be taken in account is 12 centimeter.
Yes, definitely.
Right.
Anybody has any other question? Anybody has any questions? I'm open right now. Okay, so what I will do is I will by today or tomorrow, I am also preparing one worksheet for you people. There would be around 5 to 6 numericals related to gating and casting design, okay, and riser design also. So I'll put that sheet on the LMS website. You people, what you can do is simply download it and work on that sheet, solve it on your own. And if you have got any problem, rather than what I will do is you can either give me a call or you can just mail me your problems and I'll try to interact with you. Is it okay for you?
Right, sir.
So if there is no other question, then I can end the class. Okay, so there is no question, so I'm ending the class. Thank you very much.